like the way the chapter's title, Evil Woman, is in quotes. One Piece, Chapter 9, Evil Woman, begins with Nami once again introducing herself as the thief who hunts pirates and trying to get Luffy to join. Luffy's not having any of it, and he just walks away. Or tries to, but Nami stops him by asking him, "What's in your cap? What do you have? What makes it so valuable? Do you have treasure or value or diamonds underneath there?" My question is, why would Nami just straight out ask if there's something valuable underneath the cap? If Luffy or anyone else did have something valuable and they were talking to a thief, why would they tell the truth? I wouldn't. You wouldn't. That guy down the street probably wouldn't. It's just common knowledge that you do not tell people whose living it is to steal that you've got something on you worth stealing. Next we see a man, very nervous, bit large, freaking out. He's quivering in terror because Buggy is mad at him as he does not have his treasure back, and he's wondering why the man, a big strong individual such as himself, was not able to retrieve it from Nami the thief. And the man makes a mistake, another mistake, by saying that, the key was left in the chest by the cabin boy, and apparently Buggy doesn't hear any of this. What Buggy hears is something about his nose, and then he gets mad. Okay, so apparently this is one of those things that makes more sense if you're reading the actual Japanese manga, because one of the things that the guy said sounds like nose in Japanese, but I still liked it because it was such a switch from I'm mad to now I'm furious, and it made Buggy's character look more paranoid and insecure about his nose than it probably did in the Japanese version. So Buggy asks the guy who he is. I guess he forgot, and the guy answers. Apparently this wasn't the right answer because Buggy tells him, "Die painfully." And you're going to be hearing that a lot from Buggy. Then we have a scene from behind with the guy clutching at his throat and he's being lifted off the ground. It's a good scene, don't get me wrong, I like the scene. It's just that I think that Oda would have made it absolutely perfect with two changes. First of all, he should have given Buggy a wheeze or a bad cough or some kind of problem with his lungs and a black helmet, and I would have loved him. He would have been like my favorite character at the start. Just Star Wars references all the way, and it's a win for me. I'm a simple guy. I'm easy to please. And so Buggy, being the man in charge, gives his men an instruction, which is to prepare the cannon. And they do this. He points it at the man who's being choked out, still in the air, and he sends his retired associate to that big place in the sky or wherever it is where pirates go when they die. Which begs the question, where is it that people go when they die? I mean, in the One Piece world, what is the belief involving, life after death or anything like that? Because I know that in this world, all that happens is you're eaten by the bacteria that your immune system kept at bay. And so you rot until there's nothing left to rot. Next, we see Nami and Luffy in an empty house, or possibly a restaurant, or it's a room without any other people. And she tells him that the reason why there's nobody around is because of Buggy's raid and how everybody left and went to a shelter. She also tells him that Buggy is pretty messed up, and he's actually destroyed a nearby town just because a boy made fun of his nose. And of course, Luffy, he asks Nami, "Are you here stealing from the empty houses?" And Nami gets upset by this because she only steals from pirates, because I guess, a thief has her pride. And this is all well and good. The only thing that happened is that Nami gave Luffy a bit too much information at once. With Luffy, you got to space it out because he got Nami confused with the pirates. So here's where we get Nami's dream. And that is that she wants to get 1,000,000 berries, which she'll do by using her map to go to the Grand Line and rip off pirates that have just way more wealth. And she wants Luffy to go with her because of his strength. This time Luffy agrees, and he asks Nami, will you join my pirate crew? No, of course not. Nami says nope, she's out. She hates pirates. But before she leaves, she does inquire if he's planning on using a map that he has hidden under his cap. Which of course Luffy doesn't. It's just precious to him because somebody gave it to him. I'm surprised that it's gotten this far because I know Nami's smart, so she should just accept that it's just a cap. Luffy cares about it just because it's a cap. Things can be precious without having monetary value or a readily available use. Look at art. It doesn't even have to be good art. It doesn't even have to be valuable art. If not for the fact that things could be precious just because of, their connection, we wouldn't have any of the crappy drawings that kids do on the fridge. So we get a bit of back and forth, and finally, I guess Nami figures out a way to use Luffy to her advantage, and she tells him, okay, I'll join. On one condition. You need to go with me to Buggy's hideout. Luffy is like, fine, let's go. And he just starts walking. And I guess this surprised Nami for a second because she didn't think he would really just go for it. But she tells him, wait, I need something. And this something's a rope. Luffy's a bit curious what the rope is for, and Nami's like, are you going to make something of it? Luffy's not. He's not. He's like, no, let's go. So, of course, Nami, once they get within visual distance of the hideout, ties Luffy up. And it's pretty impressive because Luffy is pretty fast and he's pretty strong, but he was no way near prepared for resisting Nami's not tying abilities. Also, I guess the term hideout might be a bit strong since Buggy and his crew did nothing to hide out. The building was in plain sight, and Nami could even point it out from quite a few houses away. Next we see Buggy with his men. He's not happy. I'm not sure if he's ever happy. And he's yelling at them and demanding that they die painfully. But before he could bring about the fulfillment of his own command, somebody stops him and tells him that the thief Nami is there to talk with him. I'm pretty sure the whole die painfully is more of a running gag, but it really wouldn't surprise me if Buggy is really commanding his men to kill themselves, because I've already seen the Marines perfectly willing to kill themselves at a superior's order. And I can't think of anything that would really make it so that the pirates wouldn't do it even though the Marines would. They're both lower level grunts, just piss your pants afraid of the person in charge. So yeah, wouldn't be surprised if they, were told die painfully, and one of them started, just cutting himself up, and another started, I don't know, painful ways to die. Set up a boiling cauldron and jumped in. I don't know. So Nami shows up in front of Buggy and throws Luffy at her feet. When Buggy asks why, Nami just says, we got into a fight. I'm tired of working with him. He's yours and I'd like to join your crew. So we get a close-up of Luffy in the cage grumbling that she's mean and he's not going to let her join his crew. Okay, so I've been thinking about this. And I believe I found out why Luffy is the way he is and how come he doesn't seem to be able to understand situations and accept his own mortality. He is not in touch with reality. That's all there is to it. Maybe he's not even actively aware that there is a form of existence outside of his head. It's not so much that he thinks he's all powerful, it's just that he doesn't understand that the real world can push back. If anything, it would explain his complete certainty of becoming the Pirate King despite just legions and legions of people who would stop him. So the chapter ends with Zoro arriving in the island and wondering why there's nobody around. So the men explain it's because their captain is on one of his raids, and so people scatter. Zoro decides that maybe he'll have a go talk with Buggy so he can find out where his captain is. Which is nice, but by the way Zoro held his swords when he said it, I don't think he's really interested in too much talking. Sure, maybe a third of it will be talking, but the swords are mostly going to be used for intimidation and or cutting. So by now I know that Buggy's devil fruit is pretty well known. But at the time, did anybody really think that it was going to be what it is? Personally, from looking at his personality and, the whole choking thing, I thought he had telekinesis. I could see a whole lot of clowny type techniques, coming from telekinesis. Either that or something to do with explosives, because it's kind of hard for me to really see Buggy as smart enough to be able to create new bombs. But that's just first impression. He might be brilliant for all I know. I haven't really looked too much into Buggy. So, what did you guys think his powers were going to be before they were revealed?